Alright, so back at it again. So I'm actually, it's going to be a review for a sort of all-in-one storage solution for the Elder Sign game from Fantasy Flight Games. It's actually, it was reprinted as a sort of, I guess, X-Men spin-off, but it didn't really do so well. But the Elder Sign one, I think, works pretty well. So, if you can notice that the top piece sort of does come out. So it's just kind of a sleeve. I know they try to make it look like it's a museum, but whatever it is, it's a box. I do have to say I stained this one. This is not the natural color. I actually used a light sort of wood stain. Just to kind of bring up the natural color of the wood. And for the most part, you saw that how I had it stored, most of the components did not move from their location, so that's pretty good. It did come with quite a bit of dividers. I do have this whole section that's essentially blank right there. But if you look, and there's not many removable parts, aside from these pieces in the middle, which I'll go over, but for the most part you have all of let me back up a sec. So yeah, this game is complete as of now, at least I think. I do have all of the expansions that are up to date, so the Omens of Ice, the Pharaoh, the Gates, and I forget which other ones. Also there's like a little mini expansion that they had. But everything is actually in here and it does obviously have some ample room if there were to ever issue some more material. I don't have the funky overpriced promos either. But anyways, yeah, let's go back to sort of the individual compartments here. Let me sort of zoom in a bit and hope for the best. So yeah, we have all the die here, including the Blessed and the Cursed die here. We have the monster tokens here. Unfortunately, there is no space to sort of separate the ones. You're still going to have to kind of look for the ones that you kind of need, but it's there. You have the portals here, and then I kind of had that separated by on this corner up here. Let me move this over. This corner here is all the investigators. And this is kind of how I organized it. So we do have quite a few of them, which I don't think they actually ported all of them over. I think there are still some from the Arkham game that they didn't port over. But we have the base set here. Actually, no, this is I believe a portal deck there. The backs on some of these actually will look different depending on was it the Gates? I think that was the Gates Arkham expansion. It took me a while. I haven't played this, I actually played it over Halloween, so it's been quite a bit. But yeah, this is one of the expansions here. But it does, like I said, it does have all the ample room for that. So if you were just to play with the expansions, you can kind of pick them out. And it's funny, these were actually sleeved with the old Fantasy Flight sleeves, which I actually dearly miss because that was my sleeve of choice before. So we have the Otherworld cards there, and then I also separated by one of the expansions there, along with its associated bosses. So yeah, like I said, you have all the space that you kind of need for these cards. There, and this is the Omens of Ice expansion that way. This one I believe that's the Deep expansion. So yeah, it has all the material there. And there's some more these are some of the bosses there that are for the base game. So I believe that one is also in the Omens of Ice expansion. Here, this section over here, you have ample place for your manuals for the different expansions, so you have room there. Also chuck the clock in there, which this one, I've had it for a while, so it's holding up pretty well, thankfully. But you have the space there for it. So as far as the other stuff, these, when you move this back to the center view here. Skewed. So yeah, these right here are, you have a nice little acrylic piece there. You have some of the expansion token pieces for this one's from Omen of the Ice. And then you have all the investigators kind of shoved into one of these there. But yeah, they fit pretty well that way. And then you do have some of the monsters there. So these are the normal everyday rounds. So these are the expansion specific ones. So I did separate them by that. So ignore what I said about this here, because I'm an idiot. And then we have all the sort of sanity tokens, the portal tokens, the clue tokens there, the doom stuff there, and the other signs. So all that fits pretty much there. So now here's going to be the tricky part where I'm probably going to curse myself, but let's see how well this is going to actually work. I'm going to just kind of tilt it and hope for the best, but you have all of the other cards here, the space for... Okay, so this is actually the one of the little mini print and play expansions that came out, or print on demand expansions that came out, that sort of increased the difficulty. Here's the other part of that. It's a sanity deck, which is actually a fun addition if you're having a hard time. Well, not sort of a hard time. This game's actually not all that difficult, to be honest, if you want to sort of spice the game up. You know, me personally, I think the only variant, I'm not a huge fan of variants, to be honest. The only variant that I typically like using is once you're dead, you're dead, but that's one of the fun things about some of the other expansions. You know, the difficulty is definitely ramped up. I have a harder time with those expansions than the sort of the base game, the first expansion that was originally originally released. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, like I said, you have enough room for all the different you got stuff for the spells there, and you know, you can kind of configure this anyway, sort of shape or form. You know, depending on to your tastes. There is space, like I said, there is a whole section there that I hadn't utilized. Then, you know, there is dividers that you might need, some extra dividers, whatever it is. But like I said, everything kind of fits pretty well in that. You know, yeah, it takes up more space than, say, you know, the other boxes together, but you do have a nice all-in-one, you know, storage solution